Good morning and welcome to another edition of the United Way of Southwest Alabama Safety Net Series 3. This week we have our very own President and CEO, Jill Chenoweth. We're going to be talking about all things United Way and kind of get people reacquainted with who we are and what we do and why. Before we get started, though, I want to make sure and thank our sponsors. They have been so good to us. They make a lot of the work that we're able to do for our neighbors in the community possible. So thank you, and we'll get going. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I am well. So I think I want to start with what is like the landscape of philanthropy in Southwest Alabama right now, do you think?
Southwest Alabamians have always been very generous with their time and their tithing, and we're most appreciative of that. Supported the United Way for 96 years. This week we celebrated 95 years of actually raising funds, even though we were founded 96 years ago. However, in today's economy, people aren't giving as much of their time or their money. We're seeing record number lows of givers and volunteers across the country. And it's a little alarming. And I don't know if it's because of COVID. I don't know if it's because of the recession. There are lots of speculations about why. But as Americans and Southwest Alabamians, we're not doing as much as we used to do. And so that's my job, is to try to encourage people to remember that folks out there need them. Somebody needs us right now as we're speaking. There's someone in need, and probably not very far from our office in downtown. So we just have to convince people to remember that, and to remember it could be us one day, or it could be somebody we love one day that's going to need, some services.
So yeah, it's kind of mind-boggling, but the statistic that we got from the community impact team was that last year, between United Way and our partner agencies, over 200,000 people received services. So clearly there is a need for what we are doing. And to expound on that, how does United Way of Southwest Alabama fit into the landscape of the nonprofit community?
So this is what I see for us. I see us as the convener, the planner, and the implementer. And what does that mean? Those are some weird words, but us as the convener, the United Way as a convener, that means we pull folks together around an issue, whether it's homelessness, whether it's education, whether it's early childhood education, senior citizen issues. And we try to get everybody who's playing in that field to come together and talk about real problems and real solutions to those problems. Because we can't do this alone, and no nonprofit can do anything alone. We all have to work together, and we have to work together on a daily basis to look at the issues that people who live here face daily. And it could be anything from having a child with a disability to having a parent who needs assistance at home. And so that's where we come in, convening. Then planning, so then we get together and we talk about what the needs are and who's doing what, and then we try to figure out a plan to solve those problems. It's not easy work. And then implementing is probably, actually all are hard. Convening people, because sometimes people don't want to play well together. They don't. We're humans. It's nature. We start fighting when we're kids for toys, and kind of do the same thing as adults. So to me, implementing is sometimes the hardest, but actually convening can sometimes be the hardest. And then implementing is saying, okay, this is what everybody's agreed to. Let's do this. Let's do these things to solve these issues or to address these issues, because we're not going to be able to solve everything. And sometimes we're not going to be able to solve anything. But if we just address them and provide services, it at least offers some relief to these folks that are going through whatever they're going through in their lives.
Yeah, there's that saying about we spend a lot of time pulling people out of the river, but we also need to spend some time making sure that they're not falling in.
Exactly.
So some of that stuff I think we address is like the immediate needs, but what the work of United Way is trying to do is address the issues that are having people fall in the river.
Yes, and that's a wonderful analogy. And I actually had this conversation last night with a neighbor that works at a local plant that has decided to stop supporting United Way. And it was a decision made on an international basis. It had nothing to do with the local company. And it was interesting. She said they're cutting off their nose to spite their face. They don't understand that they have people who work in their plants that need those services, that need assistance. But we don't think that way. We always think it's somebody else, somebody we don't know, somebody that, did something to deserve whatever situation they're in. And my God, that's a horrible way to live, and it's a horrible way to think. And unfortunately, we have lots of kind, generous people, but we need some more people in the boat rowing with us. We just do, because honestly, it could be them someday, or somebody they love, and that sounds stupid and trite, but it's the truth.
No, it's definitely the truth. So, how does it work? How do we do our day-to-day operation?
Ooh, that's a toughie. So it takes all of us getting out there on a daily basis, not sitting in our offices in a little cocoon. It's getting out and meeting with other nonprofits. It's meeting with government entities. It's meeting with elected officials. It's meeting with business leaders. It's meeting with donors. It's meeting with volunteers, and trying to figure out what inspires them, or what they need, or how we can partner with them, or how we can make them see that they're part of the solution. Um, so that's kind of how we go about doing it. And I firmly believe in collaboration, and collaboration is the key. And that's with government, business, individuals. And that's how we're going to have the Mobile that we all want, in the Southwest Alabama we all want. We all have to agree that we need to move in the same direction, what that direction is, and then how we're gonna do it. Um, and sometimes we don't all take the same path, and that's okay. But if we're all working together, that's good too. But we need to have conversations. We need to have frank conversations. And then we need to sometimes let our egos go, and do what's best for the community, and not just what's best for us, or our agency, or our city, or our county. We have to think about the big picture.
Sure. And also generationally, that some of the work we're not going to see it happening tomorrow, but hopefully our kids and our kids' kids will bear the
And
fruit of all of our efforts now.
and that's what you have to do. You can't, everybody, I hate to say this, a lot of times funders want to see immediate results. You're not going to see immediate results. A lot of things that people are facing are multi-generational. It's ingrained in them. It's in their DNA. And in order for us to change habits, or and some of it's not even bad things. It's somebody that has a child with a disability. That's not going to get fixed overnight, if ever. But they need lifelong services. And
Right.
so we started a program called The Basics. It's a national program. And and I've told funders, and I've told partners, this is not going to have results in 1 or 2 years. This is going to be 3, 5, 10, 20 years out before we see the results from this program. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. It means we need to do it, and do it well, and get it going.
Absolutely. So you brought up one of our 11 internal programs. Do you want to highlight a couple of other ones that people need to be aware of?
Well, a great one is Volunteer Connect, and that's for people who do want to volunteer. And so they can go into Volunteer Connect. They can go to our website, or they can type in Volunteer Connect, Mobile, Alabama, and search it, and go in and create an account. And then they can look up volunteer opportunities, not just from United Way or any of our 46 partner agencies, but any nonprofit that registers. I think the Mobile Public Library even registered a program or something looking for volunteers with us. So it's any organization that's looking for volunteers, whether it's coming to read the children, or working a table at an event that is, getting sign-in sheets, or working in another one of our programs, VITA, which is Volunteer Income Tax Assistance. And that's a program where we have a paid staff employee who trains volunteers and oversees sites, and we do taxes for free. And it brings in over $1 million back into our economy of people getting their tax returns, their refunds, I mean, and it gives people a chance to get their taxes done that may not be able to afford to, or go someplace that's going to steal their social security number, or somebody that's going to keep the majority of their refund check. So this is actually helping folks, and sometimes they help people file claims up to 5 and 6 years they're behind. And that's a good thing, because then that person gets everything taken care of, and then they kind of have peace of mind. I can't imagine having the IRS after me for 5 or 6 years. And then some other programs we have. We talked about the basics, but we also have Engaging the Next Generation, that was started by Commissioner Ludgood, Merceria Ludgood of Mobile County Commission. And that's to engage younger folks and make them aware of what agencies are out there and what their needs are and where they can plug in to help with volunteering. We have, help me think, Leslie.
Well, I was going to say the one way you can access all of our partners and our programs is 211.
Exactly. Thank you. That's awesome. And that's exactly. And also 211's not just about United Way and our partners. That's also, once again, any nonprofit that is providing services can contact 211 and let them know what the services that they provide. And anybody that's in need can call 211 and say what they need, and give their zip code, and it'll tell the closest services to them.
And that number is, I'm sorry to interrupt, is 888-421-1266, or you can simply dial 211. Oh, I'm sorry, please continue.
That's okay. That's okay. We also do something called Project Blueprint, which is a program that we used to do, and I'm so excited that we brought it back last fall. And we're going to, it was the fall of 2021, and we're going to bring it back in May of this year. And Project Blueprint is also a national program that is designed to bring people of minorities, women, people of color, into a program that teaches them how to be board members. They learn Robert's Rules of Orders. They learn how to read financial statements. They learn about roles of board members, committees, all those wonderful things. And then we try to hook those folks up into boards in the community. So we're training a new generation of people to be active community leaders and board members.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that the boards of the organizations for the people we serve reflect the people who live in our community. So that's a great program, and we're all glad it's back. And actually, we'll have a whole episode coming up in a couple of weeks that will talk in depth about that program and how people can get involved.
Awesome.
Talk about the staff.
The staff. I tell my staff this all the time. They are the best resource that we have. Actually, staff, volunteers, the number one resource, humans. And we couldn't do what we do without our staff. Today, we celebrated Delina Wiley's 25th anniversary at United Way, which is unheard of in this day and time. And very proud of her service here and hanging in through everything that's gone on in life in 25 years. We do have a fabulous staff. They're dedicated to our mission to improve the quality of life in Southwest Alabama. And I try to say to them, and not enough, but even answering the phone or writing a note or dealing with somebody that has an issue that needs assistance, those are all important things. Everything that everybody does here is important, because we can't do what we do without everyone doing what they do. So
in this last couple of minutes, as we kind of wrap up, what is one or two important takeaways that you want people to know about United Way?
I want people to know that United Way really is the community safety net. And although we don't have every nonprofit in our community, we still work to support those other nonprofits and the work that they do. And we also try to make sure that they're doing the best that they can. We offer free trainings to nonprofits, and we collaborate with a lot of nonprofits. And I want people to know that this is their United Way. The staff and I don't make any decisions about who the partner agencies are going to be. That's done by volunteers. We don't decide where 1 cent that we raise goes. That's all decided by volunteers also. So if you want to make a change in this community, please consider volunteering on one of our committees, because someone out there needs you right now. At this very second, there's somebody that needs you. And one of the best feelings in life is being needed, but also giving back. When I have to volunteer, and sometimes I get angry, I don't want to do this. It's a Friday night or Saturday morning. But when I'm done, I remember, my God, I got so much more out of this than I gave. I got so much more than I gave. And I want people to know that if you give your time, it will come back to you threefold.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today from across the hall. We always love talking to you and and hearing how you view things, and everybody on the team is on board with the direction in which we're moving. Thank you to everyone who is watching and will share this. And
thank you to our sponsors. And Leslie,
yes,
thank you for bringing this back. I'm so excited.
yes, thank you especially to our sponsors, and they are numerous, and we are grateful for all of their help. So everyone have a great rest of your day, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Les. You're awesome.